This session is a fundamental session about using Google Sheets. This video was designed to show a feature and allow you to pause the video to practice the skill. This will work best if you keep this course and playlist in one browser tab and have a different tab or browser window for your AISD Google Drive. If your screen is large enough, you can pause the video on one window and work on the skill in a window beside the instructions window. Sheets is a spreadsheet application that is very similar to Microsoft Excel and can even edit Excel spreadsheets. A spreadsheet application is often used to organize data using columns, rows, and charts. In this fundamental session, we will present the tools used to format and organize data, as well as introduce the basic tools used to automatically calculate formulas using data within the spreadsheet. While Google Sheets is similar to Excel, it is a preferred app by many, given that it can edit Excel spreadsheets in their native format. As a Google Drive app, it can automatically save your edits as you work. It has a simplified menu structure, and it is a highly collaborative tool. Before we get too deep, let's cover some key terms used throughout this session. A Google Sheet file is similar to an Excel workbook, as it can contain multiple worksheets. At the bottom of a sheet file, you will find one or more tabs for individual worksheets, or just sheets in our Google file. The sheets are a part of this file, and data can be shared between these sheets in this file.
Hi, I'm Doro, and I'm here to ask you questions about Google Sheets. Do you know what they call just one of these squares in a spreadsheet?
One square in this sheet is called a cell. Just like in biology class, cells contain information. The vertical alignment of cells is called a column, and the column headers across the top are labeled using alphabetic letters. The horizontal alignment of cells is called a row. Row headers are numbered. Each cell has a specific address in a sheet that uses the column header and the row header. For example, this cell is in column C and on row 5, and the cell is called C5. Sheets will also show you the cell address at the top left of the page. We will introduce other terms as we go. We are using our Austin ISD Google account during this session, so make sure that you first go to the AISD portal and open up Google Drive. From Drive, you can click the New button to create a new sheet. We will not be covering the templates here, but know that there are quite a few templates that will format statistical, financial, or other desired sheets. Like Google Docs, this new sheet is created with the name Untitled. Click on the file name at the top and give your sheet a content-specific name. You will find this file in your Google Drive. Briefly, looking across the top of the sheet, you will find familiar menus that provide support for formatting the data in your sheet and adding special spreadsheet functions. As you hover the mouse over the icons in the ribbon, the tool name will pop up to help you identify what that tool will do.
Which one of these tools will help you create borders around cells?
Hover over this icon to see its name and to create cell borders. Some actions in Sheets are specific to where the mouse is located on the page. When hovering over action areas, the mouse arrow will change to an insert mouse, or a directional arrow, or a hand, which is used for dragging something to a new location. One of the more useful directional arrows is found when placing the mouse on the borderline between columns or row headings. The new arrow tool will let you drag and resize the width of the column or the height of a row. Inserting data into a cell is easy. Simply click on a cell, here I am using D4, and start typing your data. The formula bar at the top will show the contents of the cell as you type. When using an actual function, as we will later, that formula bar will show the function while the cell below will show the outcome of that function. Notice that the text typed inside that cell continued outside of the cell. You will continue to see that text until the cell to the right contains its own data, thus obscuring the text from cell D4. Click on cell D4 and use your mouse to hover over the tools in the menu and locate Text Wrapping. Select the arrow for Wrap to make the lines of the text wrap within the cell. The cell will grow in size to include all of the text within it. You can practice using the mouse to point on the line between the column headers and use the arrow tool to change the column width. Watch how the text will change within cell D4 as the width changes for the column. Now that we have text in the sheet, take some time to explore the formatting tools in the ribbon at the top. Select a cell and then see how changing the font, the color, and size affects the contents of the cell. Selecting more than one cell and changing the formatting will change the formatting for all of the selected cells. One might say that most people just use the text and formatting features of a spreadsheet to create nicely organized text charts. We are now going to dive into the true power of a spreadsheet, its ability to automatically calculate answers using the numerical data within the spreadsheet. In order to make better sense of these features, you will need some data. So we're going to save you some time by providing you with a demonstration spreadsheet. This sheet has several sheet tabs to give you several examples to work with. The training page has a link to a file called Google Sheets Fundamentals Part 2. Open that link to make your own copy in Google Drive. Come back to this video once the sheet is open in another browser tab or window. Now that you have opened the new Google Sheet, called Google Sheet Fundamentals Part 2, recognize that there are several tabs at the bottom for several sheets in this file. You're going to use the data on the first tab for a sheet called Data 1. We're going to look at student data and the other tabs later. Data 1 is a sheet used to organize data around supplies associated with a set of rooms in a building. Column A is a list of the rooms. The column header Rooms sits at the top in cell A1. Column B contains a list of needed items reported for each room. Click in cell B1 and type the header Items Needed for this room, and then hit Enter. Do you see all of the text?
Do you remember which tool makes the text wrap within the cell? That's right! Use the text wrapping tool on the header in cell B1.
You can make the column wider, or you can wrap the text so that you can see this header better. Column C shows the number of chairs in each room, and D shows the number of desks. This is a fairly short list of data points, but imagine this being a much longer list and someone wanting to know the total number of chairs. Calculation tasks are where the spreadsheet excels. No pun intended. We want to get the total or sum of all of the chairs in these rooms. Click on cell B10 and type sum as a descriptor for what will be in the cell to the right. Now, click on cell C10. We're going to type a sheet function here. Functions start with an equal sign. So, type equals sum, open parentheses, close parentheses. This means give me the sum of everything on the inside of the parentheses. Now, Google Sheets is telling you that it is expecting some more information to make this function work. So let's put the cursor between the parentheses, and then we're going to click in cell C2 and drag our mouse down to the last number in cell C9. You just manually typed a mathematical function to add all of the numbers from cell C2 to C9, or as the function shows, C2 colon C9. Notice that cell C10 shows the answer, but if you click on cell C10, the formula bar above shows the function that you typed. Now, the good thing is you don't have to type functions from scratch like that. For example, let's calculate the average number of chairs. So let's go down and click in cell B11 and type the word average as a descriptor. This time, we're going to click in cell C11 and instead of typing the function, we're going to go to the functions icon at the far right of the ribbon. Listed near the top of this list are frequently used functions. Click average. The function has now been added to your cell and it is just waiting for you to provide the values. Click on cell C2 and drag down to C9 like we did before and hit enter. The average now shows up on the cell. How many rooms are there in this list? Let's go down to cell B12 and type the word count. Click in cell C12, open the functions, select count, and then drag from C2 to C9 and hit enter. Now you see the count of how many cells are highlighted in that list.
What happens if you delete the data from cell C5? Oh no! Will it still calculate the functions even though one cell is empty?
You've created 3 auto-calculated functions. If you change any number in that set, the function will recalculate and provide a new answer. Spreadsheets have other features that make tasks easier for you. For example, if you want to provide the sum, average, and count for all desks now, it's as easy as clicking on cell C10 to select that cell. At the bottom right corner of the cell, there is a small blue box or a handle. Pointing at that handle will change the arrow to a cross. Click and drag the handle to D10. You've just copied the function and it automatically adjusted the column in the function to column D. Try clicking on C11 and drag down to C12 to highlight 2 cells. Again, when you click at the blue handle at the bottom right corner, you can drag the small box from one cell to the right again and see that you can duplicate functions for multiple cells at one time. So you want those answers even quicker? Select cells C2 through C9 one more time. Now, look at the bottom right corner of your spreadsheet. Do you see that small option that appeared for a function? You can click on that small menu and you will see that it calculated these functions for the highlighted cells. Try clicking on B2 and dragging down to C9 to select two columns. Now when you click on that function box at the bottom, it will distinguish the total count of items and a total count of items that are just numbers. In a short list like this, it is easy to scan for a room that has fewer than 10 chairs. But consider having a spreadsheet with 60 students or 100 campuses. Let's use a different sheet that has more data. Click on the sheet at the bottom named Student Data. This sheet has a collection of student data, not real student data, and it's already been set up with headers. It's not so easy now to scan the data for certain ranges. How can I quickly see which students are in the Redbird reading group? Well, we can use the conditional formatting to make this information stand out.
Which menu in Sheets might include the conditional formatting option? That's right, the Format menu.
Yes, the Format menu has the option to apply conditional formatting or formatting the data based on some conditional value. I'm going to click on the sheet column header H to highlight the entire column. Now, select Conditional Formatting from the Format menu. The conditional formatting settings now have appeared in the right margin with default settings already applied. It shows the range is cell H1 all the way down the column to row 1001 in column H. The default format rule says, format these selected cells if is not empty. So if they're not empty. None of these cells are empty, so they all have the style green fill color applied. I'm going to change the rule by clicking in the menu and selecting Text Contains, and I'm going to type Redbird as the value. By clicking the fill color, I can select the color red. I can even change the text color should I want to do that. Clicking Done will add that rule for column H. Let's apply a calculation function to the math assessment data.
What could I click on to highlight all the math assessment data? Did you say click on the F at the top of the column? Way to go! Remember, clicking, no swiping.
So pause the video and see if you can create a conditional formatting rule that will apply a yellow cell filler color to the cells that have a score of 70 or less. Is this how you did it? Click the F to highlight the entire column. If the Conditional Format Rules settings window is still open, I would click the Add Another Rule button. I selected the rule less than or equal to, and I typed 70 as the value. In the fill color, I clicked and chose the yellow color. Conditional formatting is a great tool for making certain values stand out. The last major feature we will look at will help us pull certain data out or make visible by obscuring data in the sheet. Obscuring or temporarily hiding data does not delete or remove that data. Sometimes all of the ribbon icons are not visible in my browser if my browser window isn't large enough. I want to select the Create Filter tool, but if I can't see it in my ribbon, I'm going to select the three-dot menu at the far right, and that shows the hidden icons in the ribbon. Click the empty Create Filter icon. Notice that the little triangular icons now appear inside the top data header cell. To save us some time in this example, more formatting and that filter has already been applied to the sheet tab named Formatted Data. Click that sheet at the bottom to open the sheet. Now let's explore the power of the filter. Conditional formatting has been added to column F to distinguish between 4 levels of scores. I just want to see the students with scores in the 70s, and which is formatted as yellow. By clicking the filter icon in cell F1, I'm going to click Filter by Color, and I'm going to choose the text color and select yellow. Now, all of my attention is on these scores, and the other scores have been temporarily hidden. Notice that the filter icon in F1 is also now a filled filter icon. This is going to remind me which of my columns have an active filter. Yes, you can apply more than one filter at a time, and I can turn off the filter by selecting the filter, filter by color, and then select None to undo what I just did. The filter can be used to select text as well. If I just want to see students with the first name John, I can open the filter for column B, First Names, and at the bottom is a list of all of the names in this column with a check mark. The check means that it is visible right now. I'm going to click Clear to remove all of the checks, and then I'm going to type JOHN and click John to add those check marks. Clicking OK will apply that filter and show only the rows that have John as a first name.
I wonder, can we apply a filter to a conditional search? What do you think?
I can apply a conditional search as well. Open the filter, click Select All to show all of the data one more time. Now click Filter by Condition. Click Text Contains, and I'm going to type the value JO, and then click OK to apply that filter. Notice now that any cell that had JO is visible, including Joe. Spend some time exploring the filters. Try showing only the teacher named Gibbs. Or can you sort the student IDs from least to greatest? Is there an email that isn't using @austinisd.org? So in conclusion, this was a session about some fundamental tools within Google Sheets. Once exposed to these features, many people find that their use of data in spreadsheets dramatically improves and makes them more productive in their professional duties. There are far more tools and features within Google Sheets that we could not cover. Should you get stuck at any point, don't forget to use the Help menu at the top and search the tool that you are trying to use. Also, the Training option in the Help menu provides a wealth of learning resources for the rest of Google Sheets.
Thanks for learning about Google Sheets with me. You did great. Well, I gotta go now. I need to see a girl about a backpack.